On a three.
One. And we're live, folks. Yeah, I'll be your weather report for today. We got a strong wind coming out the northwest, west, 36.567 longitude and latitude.
See, I'll just keep the weather pretty simple. Just stick your head outside and look outside. Okay.
Just got off my 9 to 5. I'm a lot lizard at the truck stop. You can catch me at any time. Uh,
Weatherman's got to be great. It's the only job in the world where you can be wrong 90% of the time and still get paid for it.
yep. And you get to draw with colors,
Yeah.
markers.
It's the weekend, baby. Sober Talk with Brother Brandon, the Raging Cajun. It's the weekend, baby.
Welcome back to another Friday night sober talk with Brother Brandon, the Raging Cajun, baby. It's the weekend, baby. Man, I hope everybody's having a beautiful week. Christmas has came and passed. I hope everybody had a good Christmas. Sometimes Christmas is a great time for families and friends to get together or just to go out there and do something nice for somebody. But sometimes people get depressed during the holidays. So whatever spectrum that you were in, we love you, baby. But this the last couple days of 2024. I mean, it's been an amazing, phenomenal, extraordinary year. So many things happened this year in a good way. My heart does go out to all the fallen brothers and sisters that we did lose this year, sending prayers and love to their families. But it's been a great year for Sober Talk. We're 4 years in existence since I started Sober Talk. It was right after the main push of COVID in October of 2020, and we're at 4 years strong with Sober Talk with Brother Brandon, the Raging Cajun. Man, a lot of events, a lot of great things happening coming up. So New Year's Eve, if you're in the Bismarck area or if you're not in the Bismarck area and you want to come do some sober, clean fun at the Dream Center in Bismarck, North Dakota, they're having a Celebrate Recovery New Year's Eve party. It's going to have a comedian. I'll be there set up. I have DJ Daily Love on the ones and twos with me and him, and we'll be DJing, we'll MC, and all kind of types of surprises. So if you want to bring in the new year in a positive way, come check out the Dream Center in Bismarck, North Dakota. Celebrate Recovery that happens at the Dream Center every week. We'll be hosting a New Year's Eve party with special guests. It's a comedian. I think his name's Calvin. Don't get me if I'm wrong. But also, Brother Brandon with Sober Talk will be broadcasting live, and DJ Daily Love will be on the ones and twos with Brother Brandon. But I want to give a special shout out to Tied for Second Sober Living and New Freedom Center. Beds are available. Just call 701-527-4000. Also, I got a special guest in the house tonight. I got my man Marvin Cooper. What's happening with your homie?
Not much.
How you doing, brother?
Pretty good. Pretty
You
good.
having a good day?
I am.
But so I got that new J Dobo, fresh off the market. I mean, it's hard to get just like a Cal Ripken Jr. rookie card right here. Man, these things are going off the shelf. J Dobo for garlic lovers. For you coming to the show today, I want to give you a jar of that.
Oh, thank you.
Also, I want to give a shout out to Make It Extraordinary. The 27 life learning lessons to make your life extraordinary from my brother, Big Jacob Lawson. Shout out to him for always supporting Sober Talk. And shout out to Hurt Ridge Candy. Well, we killed this bag, but this is some dry freeze Skittles with spicy J Dobo on them. Boy, we tore those things up, didn't we?
Yes, those are good.
And shout out to Relevant Life Church in Fargo, North Dakota. Man, Travis and his wife and their whole organization over there doing great things. Shout out to Resurrection Tattoo, Perry Recovery Center, New Freedom Center, Tied for Second, House of Fade, Preferred Heating and Air. I got the great opportunity to go give some Christmas gifts to some needy families for Preferred Heating and Air over the holiday. It was a great experience to be able to give back to the community. So, how long have you been sober and clean, Marvin?
I've been continuously sober and clean for 3 months.
3 months. Congratulations, brother.
Yep.
I'm proud of you. Well, I also got a couple more things for you. I got from the 5 second rule, Brace of Miss Pam, I got you a sticker that says, "Just pray, God always has your back."
It
That's for
does.
you. I got you a Sober Talk card, so if you ever need to find your episode on Sober Talk, you can go ahead and look that. And I got those sweatpants for you right there.
Those are going to come in handy.
Yeah. So when you get off of work, you can lounge around tired for second sober living,
Yep.
and you can just watch some TV, brother.
It's usually what I do.
I see you're a SpongeBob fan.
I am.
Who's your favorite character? Is it SpongeBob or somebody else?
It's a tie. It's a tie between SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs.
Mr. Krabs?
And I fell in love with Mr. Krabs because I know who does the voice.
Yep.
Yeah.
My son loves SpongeBob. I remember I used to watch Beavis and Butthead. Remember when it first came out? You had to stay up late and watch it on MTV, and it was like after 10. Anything after 10, it was like cool to watch. You know what I mean? After the news.
Only thing is, I destroyed a lot of brain cells watching that.
I bet you did. I think I seen you on some Stunt Devils Gone Wrong videos. You know what I mean? So how was it growing up? Where did you grow up at? Where are you originally from?
I'm originally from Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Okay. South side?
Right in the heart of downtown, actually. For a few years, I lived in Shakopee, Minnesota,
Shakopee!
but I moved around because I was a ward of the state. So I bounced around. I lived in Gordon, Lakeville, um, Mason City, Iowa, St. Paul, Northern Minneapolis. I've been to Albert Lee.
So you know the land.
Yeah. I've been a lot of places.
How was your life growing up? Did you have mom, dad,
No,
brothers, sisters?
I had one brother, and unfortunately in 1987, my mom made the decision to give me and my brother up to Scott County, so we became a ward of the state, is what they called it back then.
Okay.
My brother went somewhere which I don't know where he went. I ended up going to Mason City, Iowa, and that Christmas of December 1987, my mom came down to me on Christmas Eve, gave me a blanket, my stuffed animal, and pretty much her words were, "Here's your blanket, here's your stuffed animal. I'm sorry, but this is going to be the last time you see me. I hope you take care of yourself. I gotta go. Bye."
Huh.
Literally within like 15 minutes.
How did that? Well, did you know what was happening at that age?
I really didn't know what was happening. It really didn't hit me. I would think I went on for 2 years, and I think part of that is because I had a really good friend that I made in Girard of Iowa, and unfortunately Scott County decided that it was a good idea to take me out and put me in a foster home, despite that I didn't want to go.
Mhm.
And my best friend, whose name's Justin, was so upset that I was leaving that he wouldn't let me take his picture. He wouldn't talk to me, and my whole disease of alcohol and drugs really took off as soon as I got to Lakeville.
Mhm.
I can't explain it, but somehow I ended up in a garage huffing gas.
Okay. Getting the warm wrongs.
Yeah.
I used to be a gas sniffer when I was probably like 9 to 12 years old. I used to be stealing gas out of people's sheds from underneath their steps.
Like,
And I used to stick my nose in there, and then you hear the wah 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 wah. Yeah,
yep, and the vision goes out.
yeah.
Yep, and then um, once went to Wilmer for like a month. Um, I was diagnosed at 10 years old with bipolar manic depression, and I was really, really nuts.
Hmm.
I mean, so much that the county was thinking about and debating sticking me in Wilmer State Hospital for life, which is a mental hospital.
Right. So your whole life you kind of was in institutions and foster care.
Yep.
Um, how old were you when you remember first drinking alcohol or drugs?
My first drink, I'll never forget it. And actually, it even happened before then. I was at a foster home when I was 5, and it was in Jordan, Minnesota. And the foster families were out hanging around outside on the porch. They were drinking beer. I walked up. I said, I wanted one. And they thought it was funny. They cracked one open and like, here you go, thinking I was going to drink a little bit and spit it out. I ended up downing the whole can. And about 20 minutes later, I ended up falling asleep on the grass. They thought it was hilarious. So that was my first introduction to alcohol. I don't know if I got drunk or not, but I did end up falling asleep because of it.
Right. And so, did you go to school? Like high school, middle school?
My schooling took place in my middle school was in Shakopee for a few years, and then for my mainstay at St. Joseph's Home for Children, they had the school inside.
Okay.
I did do a stint of junior high in Chaska or Chanhassen. Actually, no, it was Chaska, and ended up getting moved out of there into a level 5 school, and I was there for I think a year and a half.
What's a level 5 school?
Level 5 school is a school for people that normal schools can't deal with. They don't have the capacity or the staff or people who know how to handle with them. Like, I used to go out and pick fights with people on purpose. I used to go out and try to hurt people. I totally skipped school all the time. Just totally just a wreck.
Yeah.
And like I said, for regular schools, it's too much, so they end up putting you in what's called the level 5 program school, where the classes are smaller, it's a lot more structure, and the teachers are specially taught how to deal with us.
Okay. So you was too much to handle.
Yeah.
Okay. What about like when you turned 18? What happened?
Well, at 18, I was already full blown in addiction
Okay.
and alcoholism. That took off when I was 12. 18 years old, I was just moving down to Elberly, got a job at Taco John's, and I was smoking a hell of a lot of weed.
Uh-huh.
I was getting drunk almost at least 2 or 3 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
Then I moved in with my boss from Taco John's, and lo and behold, he was a dealer.
Good.
So for a year and a half, I was smoking weed, doing crank, getting drunk, and going to work.
Okay.
And that was basically my lifestyle. I didn't do anything else. I didn't go and hang out with friends. I didn't really watch TV. It was go to work, get high, get drunk, pass out, wake up, do it all over again.
Right. In Minnesota.
Yep. Yep. Albert Lee, Minnesota.
Um, how long did that last before you got in trouble?
Um, Actually, I really didn't get in trouble until I turned 21.
Okay.
Like, I didn't have any consequences, didn't get in trouble with the law. 21, that was a really, really bad year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I ended up moving down to Ankeny, Iowa with my first girlfriend that I had when I was 15.
The
And
love of your life.
hmm and excuse my French, but shit hit the fan
Yeah.
really hard.
Mhm.
While I was down there, I was still smoking weed. I was still drinking every day. We were constantly getting into fights, and one of the fights we got into, which was towards the last fight, is somehow we ended up getting into the bedroom and arguing. She took a piece of wood, which I don't think was a 2x4, but it was kind of similar. She took it and hit me 4 times as hard as she could in the side of my ribs.
Mhm.
And she looked at me dumbfounded because I was still standing. And I looked at her. I was like, "Are you done?" And she was a self cutter. And what that means is that A self cutter is a person that takes razor blades or knives or something and they actually inflict cuts on themselves, whether it's to reduce stress or depression. It's what they call a self cutter.
Did you ever do that?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
But I did it because I didn't want to doing it alone.
Mm-hmm.
So I scarred up myself for her.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in the bedroom, there was a pack of razor blades, and I grabbed one. I made it halfway down the hall. She was still in the bedroom, didn't see me, and people in sobriety talk about that moment of clarity. And I had just a split moment of clarity, and it's not a full clarity, but I realized that, and the thought that came to me is if I took her life, I couldn't go to heaven. So I turned around, sat in the living room.
Mm-hmm.
I tried calling up my friend who I got my weed from. He was busy. He said he was going to come by in like an hour or so. And I just remember looking at the sky, and I took the razor blade to my wrist 5 different times.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you guys ain't here, but I think he can verify.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad.
Right.
Well, the thing is I really didn't bleed that much.
And you was 21?
21, wrapped up with gauze, went to work the next day, and the following day I moved out of there into Des Moines.
Okay. And you left her?
Yep, left her.
Okay. Good. I'm glad you did.
I'm glad I left her, but I didn't go to the best places either. I ended up
Right.
moving in with a lady that did meth, and it was my first introduction to meth.
Right.
And so for like 3 months, I was sitting there smoking meth every day,
Right.
which, like I said, pretty much most of my childhood I was off the rails.
When you were growing up, like from when you was a little kid to you was in your 20s, were you introduced to any kind of spiritual life?
No,
Like in nothing?
nothing.
Because I see you wear a cross around your neck now.
Yep.
So but we get into that a little later.
Yeah.
But I could tell you one time I was locked up and I opened up the Bible because I was running out of stuff to read. And I opened up the Bible and I read a proverb and it said, I'd rather sleep on a rooftop than in a house with a quarrelsome woman. And that's what I was thinking about the whole time you were telling me these stories about these women. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But a lot of us go through that. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And then, okay, so how old are you now?
I'm 44.
Okay, how was your 30s?
My mid
Did
20s.
you ever think, man, I need to change my life?
I did actually. This is my second time in recovery, and now you talk about the consequences that come with it. In Iowa, I ended up beating up a police officer, knocking him out, going to jail like almost every single day. It was to the point where the police were just coming up to me with a blessed flash and going blow. Doesn't matter if I was just walking down the street, it was blow. So that continued all the way up until I was about 24. Then lost my place, became homeless. And I used to say that it took me being an alcoholic to become a drug addict. But the alcohol never went away either. So I went and started smoking crack while I was on the streets from 24 to 26.
Okay.
Well,
The cracky era.
yeah,
Well, that's when stuff really got crazy, huh?
it did. And
How many DUIs have you had?
one.
Okay. In Iowa or where was that?
Nope, it was in Bloomington, well, Eden Prairie, but I left from Bloomington.
Okay.
And I don't remember the drive. I just remember seeing the vehicle afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
And the police estimated that I was probably doing about 120, 130 miles per hour down the highway, bouncing off the cement divider down the highway.
In an Astro van.
Actually, it was a Monte Carlo. That was my roommates.
Go figure, huh?
Right?
Um. So yeah, tell me about you going to treatment the first time or wanting to get sober.
Well, how I got sober was towards the end of my drug use with the crack and everything. I started going through seizures, like almost on a weekly basis.
And now you think that was from the drugs?
Yeah, drugs, not eating the drugs. I mean, I was doing a lot.
If you had to explain the difference between when you was using meth and when you was using crack, how would you explain to the people out there the difference between the two?
Well, the difference at that time was the meth I was still kind of like functional and able to do things. I just kind of did them fast.
Yeah.
I still ate. I still drank water.
Mm.
Versus crack is a whole nother beast of a drug.
Right.
I
A
mean,
whole nother devil.
when they say that you're chasing the ghost or chasing down the drain, they literally mean you're chasing it down the drain. You don't think about anything else. You don't eat. You don't sleep. You don't drink water. You're just constantly just doing the crack.
Hmm.
And my last time using crack, I remember the day before. I sat there and said to God, I said, God, God, take me away from this because otherwise I'm going to kill myself with it.
Hmm.
So the following day, I scored my last rock and I went to a completely different place to smoke it. Short story said, I got busted. Police showed up and I went to jail. Now, I sat in jail for 3 weeks because every single week there was an excuse why my public defender couldn't show up. And they gave me the option of going to jail or going to treatment.
Right.
So I finally took the deal to go to treatment. And the van that took me to treatment didn't tell me to go in the house, didn't say anything, dropped me off in the middle of this parking lot. No fence, no nothing around. I'm like looking around. I'm like, okay. As soon as I started to walk off the property, a lady came out and was like, are you supposed to be here? I was like, I think so. You
Hmm.
just get dropped off in the van? I was like, yeah. She's like, get your ass in here.
Hmm. Where were you at?
I was still in Minneapolis. The treatment center I went to was Park Avenue.
Park Avenue.
Yep.
Is it big?
It was a big house, but not like a lot of people. It's
It's
not.
on sober living or treatment.
It was treatment.
Okay.
Um, and within 2 days, all counselors said that I something went off in me because I totally changed.
Right.
Got rid of all my numbers, got rid of all my connections, all my old friends, which later I came to realize were acquaintances, not friends.
Right. Tell that to the people out there listening one more time.
That the old people that I used to refer to as friends, they weren't friends; they were acquaintances.
Yeah.
And the reason why they're called acquaintances is because they're not going to be there to pick you up. They're not going to help you with your problems. But I'll tell you right now, if you have a bottle or a joint or a drug, they're there in an instant.
Yep.
They're acquaintances.
Yep. Leeches.
Hmm.
And so you go there and you get sober.
I got sober, and
How was the detoxes? Did you detox?
I didn't really detox.
Yeah.
That's one thing I never got was the detox.
Yeah.
I never got the shakes, none of the dry mouth, none of the puking, the heaving, none of that. It was just
I
weird.
mean, everybody's
Different.
experience is different. I mean, I've tried heroin and different stuff, not through a needle, but in other ways. And I never got sick. You know what I mean? And I tried it a bunch of times.
Twice.
Yep. But I'm saying everybody's experience is different.
Right, right.
So you're in treatment,
I'm in
and they
treatment.
say that it looks like you really want to do this.
Yep.
And how long did you stay sober?
I stayed sober for 7.5 years.
7.5 years?
Yep.
Man, that's a nice stretch. Like
Yeah.
no drugs, no alcohol.
Nothing.
Okay.
I was going to
In Minnesota?
in Minneapolis. I was going to about 4 meetings a week.
So you got into a 12-step program?
Actually, as soon as I got out of treatment, I ended up getting connected with some people in the meetings, and one of them started up his own sober house, and I went and lived with him for a while.
Oh, so you lived in the sober house?
Yep.
How was that?
It was all right.
How was that compared to the sober house you live in now?
If any of the sober houses that I lived in Minneapolis was anything like this, I don't think I would have left.
Right.
Tie for Second has been like one of the best sober houses I've lived in. Seriously.
Pretty nice facilities, right?
It's a nice facility. The guys that run it are really, really genuine. They actually will listen to you. They don't really judge you. They give you chances.
Right.
And here in a minute I'll explain that too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I really like being at Tie for Second. I mean, don't get me wrong. When you got a whole bunch of guys living in the same house, you're gonna rub up against each other.
Right.
You know, there's gonna be frictions at times. But
So
it's been great.
Tell the people out there what Tied for Second is.
Time for Second is a sober living program. They own a few houses. It's actually ran through, run by New Freedom Center.
Mm.
Um, I think they got
Shout out to New Freedom Center.
I think they got like 6 or 7 houses
Yeah.
for guys, and I think they got 2 or 3 houses for females.
Okay. And how long have you been living there?
I've been living at Time per Second since November 29th of 2023.
It's about a year.
Yep.
Okay. And how did you find out about
I found out about it when I was at treatment at Heartview.
it? Okay.
They came in to interview me. I almost,
You filled out
because,
an application.
yep, I filled out an application. I almost didn't because of my previous experiences over in Minnesota. But once again, I had that little click of clarity, and it'd probably be better if I did that versus go to a shelter or try to get my own place, being
Right.
fresh out of treatment.
You got any kids?
I have one kid, and started off as a she. She is now becoming a he, and he's an adult now.
Okay.
I don't have contact. I went and visited her a few times, wanted to do better than what my real dad did for me.
Right.
And I pay all my child support.
Well, that's what you can do, brother.
Yeah.
All you can do is be there to support her. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I have an older daughter that I missed a lot of her life, and all I can do is be there for her and try to enjoy the moments that we have now. You know what I mean? And that's all.
Right.
That all you can do is your best. What led you up to the second time getting sober?
So the second time getting sober, I was in Minneapolis. I met my ex-wife through.
Oh, so you were married?
I was married. Um, through an online dating app.
Did you get married in a drive-through?
Nope. Nope. But we didn't have an actual wedding either. We actually went to the courthouse and just judge sat there and said things and got married.
In Minnesota?
Yep.
Okay.
Like I said, I was still smoking weed. She knew that I was smoking weed. What she didn't know, and that I started keeping from her, is that I started dabbling back into the crack. Started snorting coke.
Yeah.
So things were starting to fall off towards the end with my using. Well, her godparents made a deal with us. We ended up going through the special finance class, and they basically gave her 10 grand and it moved us out here to North Dakota,
Oh yeah.
which was about a week before the whole COVID thing took off and they shut everything down.
Okay.
So we moved out here. For the first year I was doing good, wasn't using, wasn't drinking, and then we moved to Bismarck and got our apartment. And I'll never forget. I went outside. I was going to the garage. My next door neighbor was outside. And I said, I could really go for a fucking bowl right now.
Yeah.
My neighbor's like, oh, really? Hold on a second. And he went inside and grabbed his weed and packed a bowl. And it's like no break ever happened. I was back to the races.
Right.
Getting stoned every day. And then I came into his garage and he was sitting there smoking meth, which he called farmer's crack. And when he said farmer's crack, I was thinking about the crack that I've been used to smoking.
Right.
So I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
He was like, well, this isn't what you think. And I was like, I'll try it. And yeah, went off the rails deep and quick.
Right.
We were getting to arguments. I was spending every nickel and dime that we had in the house, whether it was for dope, whether it was for weed. And if I couldn't get that stuff, I'd go and get me the little shooters
Yeah.
from the liquor store because I knew I've learned that about 4 or 5 of them is enough to get me drunk enough where I can fall asleep.
Right.
So I was like doing that like almost every single day just to fall asleep.
Here.
Yep, that was here. That was just here in this town.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, she started having enough. Started talking about divorce. It got so bad that she went down and took a vacation with her ex from Arizona to Las Vegas.
While you were still married?
While we were still married.
She had enough of you.
Yep. Came back. Things didn't get better. Things got worse. Um, Finally, we got divorced, and I was so mad at her when I found this out, but I know she was trying to do the right thing. She was telling the landlord all the times that I was getting weed, the times that I was smoking in the apartment,
Mm-hmm.
and the only reason why I was still there was because of her
Mm-hmm.
and that we were married. Once I got divorced, dude, she called up the landlord, and within 20 minutes, the landlord was there with an eviction notice.
Right.
Gave me a month to get out,
Right.
and I couldn't even make it to a month.
Right.
I started feeling so crappy that November 3rd, I ended up downing like those mason jars of um it was rum,
Okay.
but oh god, it was so good. I can still taste it today. That's the thing about alcohol, so we just still
Right.
remember. But I ended up downing that, and I remember I was gonna just have some shots with her because she's a normie.
Right.
Like she can drink like a glass of wine and be good and be like buzzed and like what
Right.
I don't know how normies can do it.
Mm-hmm.
She'd always look at me and be like, "Why you gotta drink that so fast?"
So you drank a whole bunch of alcohol, and what happened? You went to jail.
Nope, nope. But I did get into it with the next door neighbor
Okay.
because, that was when I started doing the whole finger blaming. It's your fault. Da 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 da. Got into it with him. I had some of the stuff in my garage that I was letting him store in there. Ended up taking that out. I was really loud, making a whole bunch of noise. Ended up freaking out the neighbor from upstairs that his garage door was next to ours.
Mm-hmm.
He called Ryan. Ryan called my ex-wife and said he's gonna go. So I ended up getting a little bit of weed. I went down to the Bismarck Inn and Suites down off of Third,
Mm-hmm.
right across from Sheila's.
Yeah.
Got me a room. Didn't pick up alcohol anymore. Finished the weed by the 5th. The 6th, I had my appointment to go into Hartview. And I
Okay.
went into Hartview.
Okay.
And that's what started my recovery that I'm in now.
Okay. And how was it?
You want to know it? It was unique. I mean, the first time I went to treatment, went there from jail. The second time, I actually went in there by myself, called them up weeks before. I went in sober. I didn't go in stoned. I didn't go in high. I didn't go in drunk. Uh, just straight up sober. Well, when people sit there and say that, once you're in AA, it always sticks with you, and that is true.
Mm-hmm.
Because the whole time I was using it in the back of my mind, I heard old friends saying, I know you need treatment. You need to take yourself in. Once you start this cycle, you're not going
Right.
to stop.
So you started going to meetings. Did you get a sponsor?
I did. Actually, I had one of my coworkers at Burger King who has like 22 years of sobriety. He doesn't go to meetings anymore. I'm going to try to change that. But he doesn't go to meetings anymore, but he's got 22 years of continuous sobriety.
Okay.
I had him as a temporary sponsor.
Okay.
So he came and visited me at Hartview. He kind of took me under my wing, and it wasn't until
Under his wing.
yep, and
Yep.
it wasn't until the Christmas dinner at Serenity that I meet my sponsor that I have now.
Okay. So you have a real sponsor.
I have a real sponsor.
And you gonna be through the steps?
I've been through all the 12 steps of AA.
Okay.
Very pretty soon I'm going to be starting 12 steps of EA.
Okay.
I'm willing to sponsor people.
EA.
Yep, Emotions Anonymous.
Okay. That's the thing, huh?
Yep, and because I mean, realistically, you really think about it, what really drove us to drink?
Yeah. It's always a deeper rooted cause.
Right.
That is alcohol and drugs is just a symptom of your disease.
Or a solution of how to deal with it.
Right.
And most times it's all caused by emotions, whether it be
Right.
fear, anger, sadness. I mean, even in alcoholism, they talk about resentments. Well, really, what sort of resentment? It's
Right.
anger.
Right.
You're mad at somebody for doing something,
Amen to that.
and you just hold on to it.
Right.
So emotions are really the root. So I didn't even know about EA until I got out here,
Right.
and now it's one of my core foundations.
Okay. Where do they have that at?
They have it at Serenity Monday nights, starting at 7:30. That goes until 8:30. We sometimes run a little bit longer because we like to give everybody a chance to talk. And then Friday nights is the night meeting that I share, which is tonight. I had somebody take my spot because I was coming to do this with you guys.
Okay. Well, we appreciate you coming.
I really appreciate it too because I want to reach as many people as I can.
Yep.
I mean, this, quite honest, this disease kills me. It does. I've buried people in my first sobriety. I've had people that I've met die in this sobriety.
Right. I had a lot of people die this year, brother, that I know personally.
I know two people personally when I was in treatment with.
Right.
At least he died sober.
So when you were in treatment, you found out about sober living.
Yep. They put an application, and I put an application for Hope Manor, put an application for Time per Second, Bob's House.
Bob's house.
I think it's called Bob's
Blake's house.
Blake's House, yeah. Blake. Knew it started with a B.
I'm about to say SpongeBob got his own sober living. It's underneath sea level though.
And Blessed Builders.
Yeah.
And Time per Second came out and interviewed me first, and with what they
Who came? Mike?
it was Mike and a guy named crap, I can't remember the other guy's
Starts
name.
with a J?
It might have.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah. I would say I can pull up my phone, but two of them came out, and Mike was one of them. And they went over the rules, they explained it to me how it works, and I really liked it. And as soon as they said that food was included with the rent, I was sold. Because if you start looking at prices of food, I mean, it's
Right.
outrageous nowadays.
Right. I think Ty for Second got some killer coupons in their stash.
Something.
Nah, that's awesome, bro. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean,
So
every Ty for Second home that I've been to and facility has been like state of the art, and they've had like great food and just real nice situations.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. So I agreed to go with them. I turned down Hope Matter because they got a hold of me like 3 days later. I was like,
Yeah,
I'm
that's why I went to sober living.
okay. And because I already said that I was going to Time per Second.
Right.
So November 29th, I moved into Time per Second. Started going to meetings, started building up some sobriety time. Um, but what happened was I had a roommate, and I was the only roommate that had a roommate, and because of my lifestyle, and it's something I never addressed, never thought that would come into play. I talked with my sponsor now, but I went through 4 roommates in like 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
2 of them using,
Yeah.
so it took its toll on me. So I started trying to do the whole marijuana thing,
Yeah.
and I never got it into the house, never did it on the property, but I was smoking weed.
Right.
Well, on September 26th, I ended up getting a ride from. I was still going to meetings, and I told my sponsor about it and talked with my sponsor. I was
Right.
always truthful with people in the meetings. I think that's one thing that really helped.
Right.
But I took a ride from a friend or this person at work. I won't say it's a friend because she smokes weed. She pulled out a bowl and she kept on asking me if I wanted to. I smelled it, and for
Right.
some odd reason, I was like, sure. Well, not really, really fucking stoned.
Right.
Well, the other friend that was in the car, she was doing shooters. She was like, "You want a shot?" And I was like, "Well, I've already had some weed, might as well."
Right.
And had 4 shooters. Fast forwarded, I went home that night, just kind of feeling like shit because first I passed out on one of their couches.
Mm-hmm.
Came to at like 8:30, 9 o'clock. I was like, and I just sat there and I was just thinking like, I just done fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't good.
Right.
So I was left with 2 choices. I could hide it and try to quit on my own, which I'm sorry to say, based on my experience and what I've seen, doesn't work.
Right.
So I called up Mike the following day, Called up my sponsor, told my sponsor, called up Mike, told Mike. I'm totally sweating balls, thinking I was going to get kicked out.
Mhm.
And I wasn't ready for that.
Right.
But I did. You know,
Right.
he actually congratulated on me for coming clean and letting them know. And he said, "What are you going to do? Are you going to start? You going to go to some more meetings?" I was like, "I'm going to go to some more meetings, and I'm going to quit Burger King."
Right.
And lo and behold, about a week later, my sponsor came to me from another friend in the program that works up at the hospital, who's my boss, was looking for help.
Right.
And I got in contact with her, and I got the job at the hospital,
Right.
which is excellent for me. I work by myself.
Yeah.
I'm helping other people.
You got a license?
I got a license,
Yep.
and I'm reminded every single day what this disease can do, because I see people coming in high. I see people coming in drunk.
Right.
I see people in handcuffs. I mean, it's a really solid reminder of what this disease can do to you,
Right.
and where it can lead.
Right. So you were doing good, and then you had a slip up, and then now you're 3 months
3 months
to the
sober.
good.
Yep. And ever since coming clean, things have been happening that I can't explain.
Mhm.
Now, I can't say what other people's miracles are going to be. I think the whole being honest and truthful and coming clean, what was my test from my God.
Right.
Because as soon as I did that, for 8 months at the sober house, I've been getting mail saying that I owe like $400 left in child support.
Right.
About 2 months ago, I got a card saying that overpayments will be put on this card, and I started getting overpayments back,
There you
which
go.
means I'm done with child support.
Yeah, you're on the right frequency, my brother.
Um, what else? A friend in the program, uh, his son's getting rid of a vehicle. Somebody was supposed to buy it, didn't come through. I'm getting it for the same price, which is only $300.
Okay.
And it's an older vehicle, but it's only got 150,000 miles on it.
Yeah.
And for $300, you just can't beat that.
Right.
But for that to come in my hands at this moment, it's phenomenal.
Yep.
It really is. I can't explain.
Prayers going up, blessings coming down, brother.
And now I'm on the show trying to help and reach out to other alcoholics, let them know that this can be done.
Right. So how's your spiritual life now?
My spiritual life is, I actually have one.
Okay. Tell me about it.
Um, I have a God now.
Okay. You believe in God.
I believe in God. Um, I read the Bible at
Okay.
least once a week, which I've never touched.
How did you get that started?
Um, Actually through my sponsor. My sponsor got me a Bible. Um, and I read the Proverbs every day.
Okay.
I start at the top of the month, and I read every day of the Proverbs.
Okay.
I go up every day of the month, and then I start over again.
Okay.
Um, Unfortunately, I don't go to church because I'm sorry, I can't sit in church.
Right. I mean, that's
I've got too much ADHD.
whatever works for you.
Yeah.
Works for you, my brother.
But just trust me that there is a God out there. There is.
Yep.
And whatever shape he takes,
You
for other
say that.
people,
Say that.
there is a
Amen.
God out there. But whatever shape he takes is for you guys.
Yep.
It's not going to be the same as mine. It's not going to be the same as yours.
Yep.
It's not going to be the same as my sponsor. It's not. But there is a God.
Amen to that.
And this is coming from somebody who used to personal God for most of his life, used to not listen to him, used to do things my own way, and it didn't work. And for some odd reason, now it's working. I can't explain it. I can't. Things just been
So you don't have any trouble with the law right now.
done.
And you just want to do this so you can keep your life together.
I want to be the best person that I can be
Amen to that.
and try to help as many people as I can on the way.
If you had any words of wisdom for anybody out there listening, guys like you that maybe has some issues drinking and drugging, they start smoking weed again, and there it is, they're off to the races. If you had any words of wisdom, what would you say to them?
I would say, you know, we can all make up excuses in our minds why we need to do stuff. But like I said, they're excuses. Come clean. Be honest. Because honestly, I mean, do we really need it?
Right.
No. We're running away from something.
Right.
And you know, fear is always going to be there. And fear is like one of the biggest drivers in most of us.
Yeah. Thousand forms of fear.
But you work through the fear, and I'll tell you right now, what you think is going to happen is a lot less than than what you make it out to be.
Right.
Our minds can make some really hellacious
Yep.
visions that just ain't gonna come true.
Right. Grandiosity and defiance. The two traits of a true alcoholic.
If you got a sponsor, talk to your sponsor. I mean, if you have to, go to meetings. Go to a lot of meetings.
Mhm.
I've got friends in this program that have been sober for over a year that are still going to like 4 or 5 meetings a week.
Right. Tell the people out there what a sponsor is.
A sponsor is a person that is able to guide you in sobriety, take you through the big book, which we call it the AA book. There's 12 steps in there. I like Father Martin's explanation on the 12 steps. Steps 1 through 3 is you learn to trust God. Steps 4 through 10, you clean house. And steps 11 and 12, you're out helping others. It
It,
is that simple. And if you find a sponsor to take you through these steps, you work those steps, you will see amazing things happen in your life. You'll have a
amazing.
life that you didn't think was possible.
Amazing.
I can't explain how my life is where it is today. I can't.
Amen to that. You heard,
All,
you heard it straight from Marvin C, baby.
all I know is I worked 12 steps. I worked with a sponsor. I've been honest. I mean, brutally honest, and it says it right in the big book.
Mhm.
Most of us can succeed and recover if we have the capacity to be brutally honest.
Yep.
And being brutally honest means you're going to have to come up against that fear. You're going to have to face that fear, and you're going to have to
Amen.
punch through it. And trust me, we don't go. We all us people in recovery, especially in early recovery, we don't go up to our fear and just think we're just going to walk through it. It scares the shit out of us. It
Right.
does. I mean, there's I put off my 4 step for probably a good month and a half based off fear because I didn't want to talk about it.
Hmm.
And as soon as I did, it wasn't even that bad.
Amen to that.
And you just feel so much weight lifted off.
Yep.
And then as you continue down the steps, like I said, things slowly but surely start getting better. And like I said, everybody's miracles in this program are different, but you will get them.
What's one of the darkest situations or experiences you remember through your trials and tribulations?
Probably one of the scariest things that I experienced in my last go about with alcohol and drugs was probably the simple fact that I lost my taste and my smell for about 2.5 months from doing too much shit.
Hmm.
That was probably one of the scariest.
So you couldn't even smell your own stinky butt.
Nope. Couldn't taste any food. Couldn't smell any flowers. Couldn't smell any nature. Couldn't smell any food. Couldn't smell any cologne, perfume.
No.
Nothing.
Well, that could be a good thing and a bad thing. um, if if you could visit anywhere in the world, where would it be?
I actually would like to visit Germany,
Okay.
and that's just because I know my DNA is at least half German, if not a little bit more.
Yep. I can see a little German in you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mom was German, Sweden, and Irish.
Okay. True drinker.
Hmm.
Yep.
And we're stubborn,
Yep.
extremely stubborn, hard-headed.
Right. Um, what's your favorite food? I know you could put down some food.
If I had to pick a favorite food, I'd have to say
Entree. What would be the entree?
here in town, it would have to be the Blarney Stone. Um, their raspberry jalapeno popper burger is really good.
Yeah.
Their ultimate porker sandwich is really good.
Yeah.
Their bangers and mash is really good.
Like
And
you be having visions of this food.
no, I've actually had it.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, but you think about it like
I do. It's my go-to when I was working overnights.
you ever tried to make it?
No,
Okay. What about favorite dessert?
I still have to go old school and say French silk pie.
Okay, French silk pie.
Yeah,
All right.
one of my favorite.
Okay. Well, it's all what's up to you. If you could do anything, if you had a dream, if you had a genie in a lamp, and you had a wish or a dream or something you want to accomplish or do, what would it be?
That's a hard one.
Win the annual national hot dog eating contest?
Actually, if there's anything that I could wish that would happen, is I wish I could win the lottery, just so I could start off like certain programs to help people.
Okay.
I mean, my life is now dedicated to try to help as many people as I can.
They say that's what our purpose is. The altruistic movement there, Marvin.
And even though I may not know how to do that right now, I know my God will guide me along the way.
How's your love life, Marvin?
I'm single.
Okay.
And you want to know what? I was so afraid of being alone all my life that now that I'm single and I take care of myself, it's been one of the greatest eye openers.
Right,
I'm starting to get to know me for once.
right. I was single a long time in sobriety. So I
I
understand that. It's a good time for you to grow and learn yourself and
yep,
fix yourself.
yep. I mean, it's kind of hard when you're broken and you're still with somebody else that's broken, and it's hard. And I see it a lot. I think being single has been a blessing in disguise for me.
Right.
Really,
Well, I'm proud of you, Marvin.
I appreciate it, man.
Keep doing your thing. Keep helping people and being honest, brother.
It's what it's about.
Well, I got Marvin C. in the house tonight from Tied for Second Sober Living. Um, Told his testimony, his experience, strength, and hope. He came out from one of his home groups today just so he could be on this show. So I appreciate you, brother. You keep doing your thing. Enjoy the gifts.
Oh, I will.
And I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Couple days left of 2024, folks. What you gonna do? What you gonna do new for 2025? Are you gonna make a resolution? Do you have any goals? Do you want to recreate yourself? What is your true purpose? Who are you helping? I want to give a special shout out to my brother, Jacob Lawson, the author of Make It Extraordinary, 27 Life-Changing Lessons. I want to give a special shout out to J Dobo with the new garlic flavor. And Marvin, you keep that in your little, you know what I mean, in your little stash. Shout out to Relevant Life Church in Fargo, North Dakota. Shout out to PRC, House of Fade, Hanson's Menwear, Treasures of the Sea and Earth. Shout out to Serenity Bridge, Sober Living, right here in Bismarck, North Dakota. I'm not sure if they have any beds open, but you can fill out an application, and they have 2 men's houses. Also, shout outs for Tied for Second Sober Living. My man Marvin, he is a resident of Tied for Second Sober Living. Shout out to all the residents, all the people that's in sobriety and recovery in this great state of North Dakota. And I hope everyone has a beautiful weekend, and we'll see you on New Year's Eve from the Dream Center. New Year's Eve, celebrate recovery, New Year's Eve party. Come out, check it out. We'll be there. But I hope you have a great weekend. If nobody told you yet, in the words of my great grand sponsor, Jack Height, we love you, baby. Peace and chicken grease.
Sober Talk with Brother Brandon, the Raging Cajun.
Yeah. See, it was easy, right?
Yeah.
It's the
I wasn't nervous.
Yeah.
Now my first sobriety, if I would have done this, I would have been like sweating. Now I would have been like,
Well, I'm proud of you, brother.
thank you.
Keep doing your thing.